You don't wake up thinking about money and status most days. You wake up thinking about what you have to get through. Work, messages, tiredness, noise. The day is already waiting for you. There's often a quiet sense of pressure running underneath it all, not loud to panic over, but just there. You thought life would look a little bit different by now. Not perfect, but more settled than this. You expected to feel further along, more sure of yourself, more like you'd found your place. Instead, most days feel small, not tragic, but just ordinary, repetitive, and a bit flat. You see people who seem to be doing better than you. They look more confident, more secure, more like they've worked something out that you haven't. You don't resent them, but you just compare yourself to them. And that comparison quietly changes how you see your own life, and you start thinking more about the things that you think are missing. You carry that feeling into your day, you keep functioning, but part of you feels like you're living a smaller version of your life than what you imagined. You're not on the verge of a breakdown, it's not quiet despair, but it's just low-level disappointment that you can't quite put into words. Part of what keeps that feeling in place is the way that success has been defined for you. Not by your own values, but by narrow outcomes. Money, status, being seen as someone who's doing well, those become the markers of whether you're living a life that counts. The problem is, you don't fully control most of what leads to those outcomes. Where you started, who noticed you at the right time, when chances appeared. When progress is measured by things you can't steer, it's easy to feel like you're failing by default. You're also surrounded by other people's best moments, their wins, their milestones, their great news, and your ordinary days don't stand a chance against that comparison. So your own life starts to feel small, not because it is small, but because you're measuring it against the loudest version of other people's lives. Over time, this changes how effort feels, because if getting better at you doesn't lead to visible success, it can feel pointless even trying. So expectations drop, not just of your life, but of yourself. You stop asking where you could show up more honestly. You stop noticing where you're making your own days heavier than what they need to be. Not because you don't care, but because you've learned to link improvement with being impressive. And that link quietly drains your willingness to change. You might never reach the type of success that gets noticed by strangers, and that isn't always down to effort. Some lives come with heavier limits from the very start. There are pressures you didn't create, there are barriers you didn't choose, and some days just staying steady already costs you something. But within all that, there is still one uncomfortable truth. You're not finished, not even close. You don't control every door that opens, but what you do control is whether you keep showing up as yourself every day out of habit. You have the ability to become slightly more patient than you were last year, slightly more honest than you were last month, slightly more aware of where you're making your own life harder than it needs to be. No one else can do that work for you, and no one else carries the cost when you avoid it. Becoming better doesn't mean becoming impressive. It means refusing to let your current limits become your permanent shape. You don't owe the world greatness, but you do owe yourself the effort to not get stuck in patterns that you know are detrimental for you. That effort won't fix everything, it won't change your status, but it will change the direction that you're facing. And direction matters much more than people realise. So here's the question worth sitting with after this video ends. If you're honest with yourself, where are you choosing comfort over becoming better, even when you know it's costing you?